Suzuki Swift Sport 2018 review. The Swift Sport loses weight and gains a turbocharger, but is Suzuki's rapid supermini still fun to drive? What is it? Pleasant surprises of an affordable nature are not a common occurrence in this industry, but the Suzuki Swift Sport of 2006 was such a thing. So too was its replacement 6 years later, and now we have this, a third iteration that seeks to prolong the car's reputation as a bit of a driver's gem. The basic recipe has, alas, changed a little. The old car's sharply responsive atmospheric 1.6-liter engine is replaced with a marginally more powerful 1.4-liter that already serves in the high-riding Vitara and S-Cross. Its headline figure of 138 bhp is almost incidental in this case, because forced induction has resulted in 170 pounds-foot of torque from 2,500 revolutions per minute. That's almost half as much again as the previous Swift Sport and has the potential to markedly alter the previous car's snappy personality. This new car is, however, lighter than the one it replaces. Built alongside the Ignis and Quirky's B crossover at the Marx Sager plant in Japan, the saving amounts to 70 kilograms, a substantial deficit brought about largely by redesigning certain suspension components, not least the torsion beam rear axle, and a more bulbous but stiffer new body, which is significantly lighter than before. It drops the Swift Sport into sub-ton territory and gives it a 0 to 62 miles per hour time of 8.2 seconds, which looks favorable next to a combined fuel economy of 50.4 miles per gallon. Top speed, meanwhile, is 130 miles per hour. In design terms, this car is still recognizably swift but rather more hulking at the curbside. The dimensions are largely unchanged. It's fractionally shorter and lower than a Toyota Yaris GRNN, but wider, yet the chassis sits 50 mm closer to the tarmac than before, with carbon effect bumpers and skirts exaggerating the drop. In comparison to non-sport Swifts, it's also 40 mm wider. In profile, it's a little more svelte than before, and Suzuki claims new intake streaks along with engine and floor undercovers help reduce wind resistance by 1/10. You do, however, still get a pair of Canon-esque exhaust tips and 17-in wheels wrapped in 195 section rubber. Overall, it's not the prettiest thing, though you'd never mistake it for anything other than the most potent model in the range. Standard specification is good, with DAB radio and satellite navigation. There are also LED headlights and tail lights, adaptive cruise control, a reversing camera, keyless entry and a 4.2-inch display within the main instrument binnacle that can show boost pressure along with horsepower and torque. What's it like? Once aboard, you're met with a driving position that's slightly perched in a manner that seems almost unavoidable for peppy superminis. It's good for the segment, however. The no-nonsense cloth seats are also firmly bolstered, and cup the base of your ribcage just so. There's also adequate adjustability in the steering column, and it doesn't take long to recognize whichever design engineer it was who positioned the pedals clearly understood life's simple pleasures. Despite the unremarkable character of the engine, with its curiously tinny off-throttle rattle, out on the road the Swift Sport remains an enjoyably honest thing to drive with commitment. Suzuki has redesigned the rear trailing arms to reduce roll and improve stability, but this is still a car that likes to pitch into rather a deep squat given the opportunity. Should I buy one? That depends on your expectations and your budget. Suzuki has quite audaciously raised the asking price of this car compared to the previous iteration. It's now nudging £18,000. It means you're going to pay quite a bit extra for a more rounded and capable, but ultimately less thrilling, machine.